Halacha Yomi. We're going to skip to the page 171. We're going to skip the laws of Aliyah Torah. We'll come back to it. We're going to do the laws of Mussaf. Halacha 189. The prayer of Mussaf is actually the fourth prayer of the day. Actually, prayer on Shabbat takes place after Kriyat Torah. You're not allowed to pray Mussaf later. You should not pray Mussaf later than the 7th hour of the day. So the Chatzot is the 6th hour of the day. One halachic hour after that, you should not pray Mussaf. Meaning, you shouldn't wait till that day, till that time. However, if one did not pray until after the 7th hour, even though one should have not waited so long, one may nevertheless pray Mussaf until Shkiyah. What's the issue of praying so late? Is because preferably one should not pray Mussaf at the very most before the 6.5 hour of the day, in order to avoid the question of having to pray Mincha before Mussaf, because already half hour after Machatzot is the earliest time for Mincha. The question is, what comes first, Mincha or Mussaf? So you don't want to get to such a situation, so better to pray Mussaf before half hour after Hatzot. 190. It is better to pray Mussaf alone, but before the 7th hour, rather than praying with a minyan after the 7th hour. Strictly speaking, one can pray Mussaf before Kriyat Torah, but this should only be done in extenuating circumstances. 192. Someone who forgot to pray Mussaf cannot pray a tashlum in prayer in order to make up for a missing Mussaf. Usually, if you miss a prayer, you can make it up. In the next prayer, by praying twice, Mussaf, you cannot make up. 193. If one has not yet prayed Mussaf by Mincha time, you should pray Mincha first, and then you pray Mussaf. However, if by praying with the rest of the community, if you're praying together with Minyan, you'll be allowed to pray Mussaf before praying Mincha. 194. Some communities have the custom to skip the repetition of the Amidah of Mussaf. Instead, they say up till Kedusha out loud, and then they repeat and then they say the rest of the Amidah silently. Preferably, one should not pray in a minyan like that if there's another minyan that says the entire Chazara. 195. Even though a woman is not obligated to pray Mussaf, she may pray Mussaf if she wants to. 196. One is obligated to pray Mussaf even though there's no minyan. 197. An unmarried man who is below age of 20 is allowed to be Chazan for Mussaf. Okay?
20.
Yeah, less than 20 years old. 198. Most communities recite the paragraph of Tekanta Shabbat and not the paragraph of the Moshe Tzivata. Okay, that's the minhag. 199. If one accidentally began saying a weekday Shmonai, so instead of praying Mussaf, he should stop where he is and go back to the beginning of Tekanta Shabbat, the first paragraph of the Amidah. Okay, Shabbat Rosh Chodesh, you got to say a special Mussaf. You can't say the regular Mussaf of Shabbat. It's a different Mussaf completely. 201. If one accidentally said the regular Mussaf of Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh Mussaf, you got to go back and say the proper Mussaf. You don't fulfill the mitzvah. 202. Someone who came so late to shul, he prayed Mussaf before praying Shahrit. So what does he do? He does not have to pray Mussaf again, but he still has to pray Shahrit. 203. If one came late to shul, he can pray Shahrit along with the minyan while they're praying Mussaf, and then say Mussaf with the repetition. You're allowed to pray Mussaf even though the minyan is currently praying. You're allowed to pray Shachrit even though the minyan is currently praying Mussaf. 204. During the Kedusha Mussaf, one should have in mind to accept extra neshama when they say Ayeh. In the repetition of the Amidah Mussaf, there's a part where they say Ayeh Mekom Kavod Lo. So over there, you should have in mind to accept a neshama yetera. 205. After Mussaf, instead of saying Kaveh, we say Kol Israel. The question is why. So we end up saying special teachings instead of just going into the Ketoret. We have a minhag of saying extra lessons, extra teachings of the sages during after the Amidah. And then 206, even on Shabbat, the minhag is to say Baruch Hu before Aleinu. Okay, 207. Mea brachot. We have an obligation to make 100 blessings on Shabbat. During the time of King David, 100 people died every day due to a terrible plague. Realizing that the plague had a spiritual cause, King David and the sages instituted an obligation, measure for measure. They have to make 100 blessings a day and to stop these 100 people from dying. So once the plague stopped, we still have this obligation. Some opinions say the obligation of 100 brachot was actually instituted by Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, 208. Obligation of reciting 100 brachot every day applies to Shabbat and Yom Tov as well. During the week, it's easy to fulfill 100 brachot. You have morning blessings. You have Amidah with 19 blessings 3 times a day. You have eating, Birkat Hamazon, and then you have bathroom, and you have tefillin, and you have all these mitzvahs you do. and you already are basically up to like 85, 90, and you just have to make like 10 extra blessings a day, which basically you do anyways. But in Shabbat, Amidah is 7 blessings. It's not 19. And even though we have 4 prayers a day on Shabbat, but all the Amidah is shorter. There's not enough blessings, so you're going to have to catch up like 20-something blessings. So therefore, you have to go out of your way to keep track. One should try to keep close track of one's brachot throughout Shabbat in order to ensure that he's indeed reciting 100 brachot. That's why a lot of people make besamim, a lot of people make onek Shabbat, where they eat snacks, and they, we make Birkat Hamazon early, so we have dessert after Birkat Hamazon, so we make extra brachot, and that's all permitted. 209, the calculation of reciting 100 brachot begins at night and continues throughout the day. Therefore, the brachot recited on Friday night count for Saturday, but the brachot recited during Arvit, Motzei Shabbat, and Havdalah do not count for Saturday. They count for Sunday. Even if one accepts Shabbat early and prays Arvit before Shkiyah, or if one finishes Sudah Shishit after Tzedek Kochavim, the brachot that he recites during that time count for Shabbat. So let's say you accepted Shabbat early, that counts for Shabbat already, even though it's not nighttime. And let's say you take out Shabbat late, whatever you eat during that Shishit, even though you took Shabbat out late, that also counts for Shabbat. 210. Since Amidah is shorter on Shabbat, one must find other ways to compensate for the required brachot that are missing, such as eating more fruits and snacks throughout the day and reciting brachot upon besamim. Receiving an aliyah Torah or haftarah or being chazan is also a way to fulfill the missing brachot. According to some opinions, 211, one may fulfill the obligation of reciting 100 brachot through answering amen to people's brachot when they say an aliyah. Right? So they say Baruch Atah Hashem Noten Torah, right? So then you say amen, and you have in mind that this should be for the 100 blessings. According to some opinions, that counts. And then he has in mind for you as well. 212, according to some opinions, right? However, one should only rely on this option if you have no other way to fulfill the brachot yourself. Okay, 212, according to some opinions, the prayer of En Ke'elokenu that's recited after Mussaf can be counted as part of the 100 brachot. There are opinions who state that one can fulfill the brachot through answering amen to Chazat Hashatz, answering amen to all the repetitions of the Hazan.
So it's double.
However, one should not rely on these opinions initially.
So we don't have a clear-cut answer.
There's mahalokit, so better to eat actual food and make your own brachot, but if you can't, so at least you fulfill, according to some opinions, by answering amen to those people's blessings. 213. One may wait to eat dessert after Birkat Hamazon in order to be able to make more brachot. However, one should not put the food on the table until one has finished Birkat Hamazon. Usually that's what the ladies do. You make Birkat Hamazon, they remove my machonim, they remove all the tablecloth, they put a new tablecloth, and then they put slatki skol, and then they put the dessert table. That's the right thing to do. And also, you should not clean up the table, remove the tablecloth before you do Birkat Hamazon. It's also not right according to Kabbalah. There still should be some food remainings and bread on the table while you say Birkat Hamazon. It's not right to make the table completely empty and like with just a tablecloth when you're making Birkat Hamazon. And also, if you do remove the table and the tablecloth, even though you didn't do Birkat Hamazon, if you want to eat more food, you have to make a new brachot because it's called Siluk HaShulchan. It's considered the meal's ended once you remove the tablecloth. So therefore, a person has to try to first say Birkat Hamazon and then clean up. 214. Some communities have the custom to eat some fish and salads between kiddush and washing for a motzi. Why? In order to make more brachot on Shabbat and Elul Nishmat, they say, right? However, many people what?
You have to be careful how much you eat.
Yeah. However, many people refrain from doing so because if you eat more than a kazayit of food, then you're causing a doubt if you have to say Borei Nefashot or not. So therefore, if you could control yourself, you could do it. L'shem Shamayim. But if you're gonna go and eat this, eat that, eat this, I'm full. I ate nantuki, corn, fish, this, that, and that's it. I'm full. And you ate kazayit and you ate more than the shiur, so then you get into halachic problems. Better not to do it. Okay, fine. 215. Women are just like our men. Just as men are obligated 100 blessings a day, this is difficult for women. Why? Because they don't pray as much as men do, right? Because they're technically only obligated 1 tefillah a day. And according to Sephardic custom, they do not say brachot psukei zimra, so they're missing those blessings. They don't have brachot kriyat shema, so therefore they're missing those blessings. And it's fairly difficult for a Sephardic woman to accomplish this. Nevertheless, they should try their best. We'll finish with this halacha. 216. One should set aside time to learn Torah on Shabbat, or at least attend a Torah class, since the purpose of Shabbat is to free up our schedules for Torah study. Baruch Amen. Amen. See everybody tomorrow.